Healthcare and self-care will be the hottest investments for venture capitalists in the new year, and that's according to Female Founders Fund, or F3. Only in an effort to show the value of female innovation. So joining us are F3 partners, Anu Dougal and Sutian Dong, and we appreciate you both being here. And it's you look for companies in those sectors, but clearly you're looking for companies which have a large presence of what you don't usually see in corporate boardrooms or in the C-suite, women.
Correct.
Mm-hmm. And how's that paying off, though?
It's great. Female Founders Fund launched in 2016. We now have close to 35 companies in the portfolio, and we've really seen explosive growth in terms of both the number of women starting companies as well as the amount of funding that's going towards these female-founded startups.
Yeah, and Sutia, I'm curious as well. I mean, you guys have been around for 3 years, but certainly there is still a problem when you're talking Silicon Valley, when you're talking startups, when you're talking VC and finding funding. So talk to me about the culture right now around women, around VCs, around startups, and what kind of changes you've seen in those 3 years.
Absolutely. So we've had the really fortunate happenstance of being started in New York. And I think New York as a market is very different than the West Coast. In New York, there are more female founders who start companies, more money going towards these female founders. And certainly over the last 18, 24 months, given the Me Too movement, given some of the uncovering of what's happened in the Bay Area over the last 20, 30 years, we're seeing a lot of movement, not just from VCs looking to invest more in female founders, but female founders making conscious choices of whose money they're going to take.
I always love to cite, there was I think it was the Harvard Business School study, which shows that corporations, businesses with more people of color and more women tend to have better revenue and profits. But I'm curious, how do you identify the businesses with which you want to help fund or seed? Do they come to you? Do you seek them out? And what do you look for in seeking them out?
That's a great question. And do you want to take
Sure,
that?
yeah. So I think, we've actually developed a really strong ecosystem of female founders. And so typically when you think about deal flow, where we tend to end up investing the most is really introductions that come from our own portfolio founders, which is incredibly powerful because they're obviously also talking to their peers, and we hope to think that have really benefited from the experience of working with us.
So one of the trends that you all have highlighted is healthcare and self-care. It seems like we've had quite a lot of startups in this area recently already. How much further do you think that trend has to go?
We were fortunate to invest in Maven Clinic very early on. Maven is the first female-focused telemedicine app and platform that launched in the market. And given that, we've been fortunate to see them leading the charge in really rethinking how healthcare and self-care should be delivered. Females control the vast majority of healthcare spend, and it's about time, we think, that females can access businesses and access services that really cater to them. For us, we see a lot of headroom. I think healthcare and self-care they're coming together, and so healthcare is not only chronic illnesses and solving for that, but it's also thinking about meditation, yoga, other ways of caring for yourself.
It's never appropriate to ask a parent which one of the children is your favorite, because that changes from time to time. But of the, from your portfolio, are there a couple of companies you'd like to highlight that we should be, paying attention to?
Sure. So I can start. I'll pick one from Fund 1 and one from Fund 2. So in Fund 1, we're investors in a company called Tala, which is a mobile lending platform for emerging markets. And what they do is essentially for the unbanked population specifically in emerging markets, they enable this customer base to basically get access to $50 to $100 loans. And we have seen them scale enormously. The founder is Shivani Soroya, and she recently, as of this year, raised a $75 million round, which included Revolution and PayPal. So very excited about that one. And in Fund 2, we are also investors in a company called WinkyLux, which is...
I know WinkyLux.
Oh, great. We're big fans of Natalie and love the way that she's really redefining the customer relationship.
It's a cosmetics company.
Yes.
For those of you who don't know it.
Who don't know, yes. It's a cosmetics company that's really direct-to-consumer and very trend-driven. And so just seeing how she's changing the way that customers can speak to their brands is really interesting.
All right. It's kind of friend of friend, it seems like, from the CEOs, but I think I'd like to invite some of the people that you're doing business with in to talk about their businesses.
Yeah.
So we're going to
Would
make
love
sure
that.
we stay in
Would
touch
love
with
that.
you. The Female Founders Fund partners, Anu Dougal and Suqian Dong, thank you for joining us.